Buried treasure chests are a brand new ARK mechanic brought in with Bob's Tall Tales pack, and today I'll be explaining all about them, their potential, and how best to maximise your gains. So, where to begin? Well, this may be the Wild West themed pack and not pirates, but some things don't change, and just like any other buried cache of treasure, the owners were always kind enough to draw a map. Perhaps they just really enjoyed scavenger hunts, who knows? This being ARK though, something did inevitably end up mauling them, and so their maps were passed along to the creatures. Yes, this is all a long-winded way of saying that to get your map you need to get hunting. There are 20 creatures that can drop these, all of which are aggressive, naturally. And they are the Aranio, Argentavis, Carnotaurus, Deathworm, Direwolf, Hyenodon, Caprosuchus, Mantis, Megalosaurus, Onyx, Pulmonoscorpius, Raptor, Rex, Sabertooth, Terrorbird, Thorny Dragon, Thylacoleo, Titanoboa, Troodon, and Eutyrannus. Each one of these creatures has a chance to drop a bag of fallen survivor loot on their death. Now, in most cases this is a 30% chance, but there are a few that do have a guaranteed bag, because they're the ones with a tribute drop. I'm of course talking about the Argent, Deathworm, Rex, Thyla, and Yuti. No matter which creature ends up dropping you a bag though, there is then a 5% chance that it will contain a map, giving us these final overall odds to be dropped for each creature. Now there is a varying quality to these maps, with high level creatures having the better chance to drop them. But I'll save the full explanation of that for the end, as it's going to be a bit extra nerdy. Anyhow, all pretty simple and understandable so far, right? Good, and let's move on to step 2, shall we? Now, once you've managed to get yourself a treasure map, you can click on it and press the use button. The game will then generate a chest for you and put a marker on your UI to show you where it is. Now, you don't have to generate this straight away if you don't want to, but the maps themselves have a decay timer of 48 hours, and any chest generated will vanish after 96 hours. This obviously shouldn't be too big of a problem for most of you, I'd imagine, but higher quality treasure has a level limit just like any other loot crate. So if you're a low level who lucks out onto an Ascendant map, it is something to bear in mind before you use it. If all is fine and dandy though, and your chest has been successfully generated, then your next step is to grab a shovel and head on out. As long as your shovel is in your hand, the marker will turn blue, and once within 100 meters it'll turn green, and you'll get a pretty little sparkle effect to indicate that you're ready to start digging. They're not buried particularly deep. In fact, one jab is all it'll take for a mighty survivor like yourself to unearth. And with that, congratulations! The treasure is yours. Now, these caches can contain almost anything. Resources, structures, weapons, armor, saddles, food. There's very little limit to them. So far during my testing, I've pulled out sap, metal ingots, stone walls, chitin armor, arrows, lovely bit of cooked meat, and a very, very nice 738% pike I found with a purple map. The loot table is incredibly extensive, perhaps even frustratingly so at times. The primitive chests have a loot table made up of all the surface drops from the island, while at the other end the Ascendants pulled from the swamp, ice and water caves. Of course, this means you can get saddles for creatures that don't exist on Scorched Earth at all. It's understandable to a degree, as the Tall Tales items aren't even map specific. You can go and use them on the island, but it's still frustrating nonetheless, especially as using those loot tables means that none of the Scorched specific items are in there. No pulling Ascendant chainsaws for you, I'm afraid. But there we go. That's all the ups and downs to buried treasure chests. If you found this useful, I hope you'll consider supporting the channel. But now, what are you waiting for? There'll be gold in them there hills. Go get digging! Right, fellow number nerds, now the simpletons have left, let's talk about that map quality, eh? Well, this is still quite a learning curve for me here, delving into multipliers and values with very little description, but to the best of my understanding, when the map is dropped, it rolls a number between 0 and 10 to determine what quality we get. This is then multiplied by 3, and then further multiplied by 2.5%, or 0.025 per level of the creature that dropped it. These numbers here should be the rarity thresholds, and if we're doing the maths, this means a level 14 is required to start getting Ascendant drops, but also that with a high level, only a very, very low and unlucky roll should produce anything below Ascendant. With a drop rate this low, testing is of course a little difficult, but I have found this to be accurate so far. I've had an Ascendant map from a level 15 Thyla, and Journeyman from level 140 plus. But all the ones I've had from the 140 plus were Journeyman or Mastercraft. And while I know my luck is bad, surely it can't be that bad. And on that note, if any modder is watching this and sees something wrong, please do contact or correct me, absolutely. Correct math or not though, it is important to note this is only the map quality, and the map quality still only determines the type of crate that is generated, not what's actually in it. That is a separate, completely uninfluenced role of its own. And at the end of it all, this is just a very long-winded, number-filled way of saying that on average, higher creatures will give you better loot. That's all for today though, so thank you very much for watching. Let me know what else you'd like to see, and I'll be back in the next one. Bye bye.